Okay, I am hereby, for now, um, starting the world movement of Breslov Qigong. What's Breslov? What's Qigong? What's Breslov Qigong? If you have those questions, you're not alone. Um, why Breslov Qigong and not Breslov Yoga? Okay, let's start at the beginning, which is I started with martial arts, and it just changed my life so much for the better. It was and is a real journey. And pretty quickly through martial arts, I got into Zen, yoga, Qigong, all these interlinked paths. And there's just such great stuff in there. And there's also a lot of not great stuff in there. But the great stuff that's in there so far outweighs the not great stuff that I want to schlep. I want to schlep Qigong. I want to schlep Qigong into Breslov. So one thing at a time here. Breslov is a movement from Rabbi Nachman, who a lot of people like me feel like was the greatest rabbi in history. And, obviously we're more into the Torah than other things. So being the greatest rabbi in history, you could basically say the greatest person in history. And so first of all roads lead to Breslov. And Qigong and yoga without Breslov is just a rat's nest of stuff, a lot of which is such baggage. Why? Because it's all about following the founders. And none of the founders of yoga or Qigong were greater than Rabbi Nachman. I'm sorry to break it to you. I've done more homework on this topic than any of you. If there's anyone out there that's done more homework than me on this topic, bring it on. Let's go. I've been researching this topic basically my whole life, day in, day out, not just with books, but also experience. I followed I followed a guy for a year that was probably the best Chinese Zen Buddhist teacher in America. I followed a yogi from India that a lot of people said was the greatest yogi in the world, and I followed them for years. I've been around the block, right? I'm not like just a piddler. So when I say that, it's from a whole lot of practice and study. Now, if you disagree, that's fine. God bless you. Like, we don't have to have bad vibes over it. Rav Yitzhak Ginsburg says, if you don't think your current rabbi, is the Mashiach, if you don't think your current rabbi is the redeemer of the whole world, then you need to find a different rabbi. So same thing with Qigong. If you don't think your Qigong master is the redeemer of the entire world, then time to look for them. Now, don't get me wrong. The whole reason I'm starting Breslov Qigong is because there's such great things in the world of Qigong and yoga and Zen and all this. Such great things beyond imagination. But there's more pitfalls than most of you can imagine. I know I'm sort of talking down to you, but that's the nature of teaching, is the people that are interested in my lessons feel like I have something to give over. So if you feel like you know better, no reason to fight with me. You can simply challenge me in a friendly way or study with who you want. Enough of these bad vibes, everyone. Okay, so continuing on. Um, So Breslov is itself the best Qigong. What's Qigong? It just means energy development. Qi means energy, like qi and chi are the same word. Qi is the new way of saying it, qi is the old way of saying it. Tai chi, tai ji, qi gong, qi gong. So qi is energy development, and qi is energy, and gong is development. So qi gong means way to develop your energy, way to develop your health, your inner health. So Breslov is really the greatest Qigong as it is. So why should I bother saying I teach Breslov Qigong instead of just saying I teach Breslov? Well, for one, there's a whole lot of people out there, and I can lead you to practically all of them, who teach Breslov a lot better than me in English. They learn more, they have more experience, on and on. There's a whole lot of people out there that teach Qigong better than me, experience, blah, blah, blah. There's very few people out there that are kind of integrating this. So that's why I'm setting up my shingle here with Breslov Qigong. You have to know both movements to know like what an absurd name that is on purpose. So what's the main distinguishing aspect of Breslov Qigong? Maybe the main one, or one of them, is that Breslov really is just Torah. And Torah, as we all know, has a lot of laws. So the laws are not to make your life boring or miserable. They're partly to keep you out of trouble, and partly so that you can cultivate yourself on the highest level, again, without getting in trouble. It's the front and the back of the same issue. What really led me in this direction was, in all the things I trained in before Breslov, I really wanted to go for it. And I got in a lot of trouble by hitting pitfalls that I'm going to help steer you out of by bringing you into Breslov Qigong. For one, in Breslov and Qigong, we could say there's two main things: who's the greatest teacher in the world, and our own personal practice under them, right? So that's part of my school, is helping you find the greatest teacher in the world. Now, my rabbi in Breslov, I think he's the greatest teacher in the world. But if you come under me and you're not into him, I'm happy to find the person that you and me both think is the greatest together, and kind of help situate you under them. And then it's just about our daily practice. And Rabbi Nachman's daily practice in Breslov is so great, and it's so similar to Qigong, right? One aspect is just going outside. Dogs do it, little kids do it. It's pretty basic. And in the age of the internet, it's incredibly important. So to practice outside, both systems stress a whole development of the breath, a development of moving. And a little secret we have in Breslov, which already got developed. There's a therapy, one of these Esalen type of therapies called primal scream therapy. So people already tried to develop it, but it didn't quite catch. So we're going to revive it, take it out of the Esalen zone, and put it in a safer kind of zone. The reason people don't like safety is that word connotates boring, right? And we're not talking about boring. For instance, part of Qigong is Tai Chi. Tai Chi is a subset of Qigong. Qigong means any of the Chinese kind of yoga, meditation, breathing systems, right? So Tai Chi is one of them. And Tai Chi is a fighting system. Why do I say Breslov Qigong instead of Breslov Yoga? Mainly because Qigong can include martial arts, or it doesn't have to include martial arts, right? Whereas yoga doesn't include martial arts. Of course, it really does. Kalari Payat from southern India, which is called, I can't remember. Some people say it's the first martial art in the world. It's from India. People still practice it. A friend of mine went and trained in it. It's very much a yogic yoga martial art kind of thing, but it's not really out there. Blah blah blah. But anyhow, for general usage, Qigong in our culture now, 2017, Qigong can mean martial arts or no martial arts. Yoga doesn't. And Qigong, the word Qigong and yoga are more or less interchangeable on one level. So when I say Breslov Qigong, you can, if you're attached to the word yoga, you can just think Breslov yoga. The word Qigong is often translated as Chinese yoga. Okay, when I say a bracha, you should say Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech she'akol nidiyah bidbro. I asked my last Rebbe, he also was really larger than life. I said, what's the healthiest thing I can do for myself? So he said to drink green tea with lemon. So I just made it this morning. And it is nasty. Okay. Breslov Qigong. I'm probably gonna be laughing at that name for the next 30 years. So get used to it. You have to get deeper into both stuff. If you don't think that's funny, you have to get deeper into both things to realize why it's so absurd, but I think it actually fits. Okay, so what's the main distinguishing factor? A main factor is that Breslov is really Torah. Torah has a lot of rules. So if you practice Breslov Qigong, there's a whole set of rules to keep you out of trouble. If you're not Jewish, it's called the Noahide laws. If you're Jewish, it's called the Halacha, the Jewish laws. And this is going to keep you out of more trouble than you've ever imagined. But as I started to say, keeping out of trouble does not mean boring or playing it safe, right? What I started to say was in Tai Chi martial arts, you can spar, fight full on, and no one gets injured. Whereas kickboxing, karate, capoeira, everyone gets injured, just about everyone, if you spar full on. So if you train with me, we're training full on in a way where we're not gonna get injured. Getting injured's not so fun, you know. Getting injured physically, emotionally, mentally, or spiritually is not so fun. Now, at the same time, if we train full on and we follow the rules and we get injured, okay, we deal with it. Not the end of the world. Okay, continuing on.